Hey guys, Deb here with the more you know top 10 video. This week's topic is anxiety and depression. So, I know what you guys are thinking. Oh great, here comes Deb with another one of her long-winded tirades. When in all actuality, this isn't a tirade. This is something that people go through every day. So, sit back and relax, and we can just get this done in a quick and painless manner. At number 10, we have a myth. Now, these are common misconceptions and myths about depression and anxiety. So, at number 10, we have, they're doing it for attention. While some people may do it for attention, anxiety and depression are really super common. And some people actually are trying to reach out because they need help. In light of it being around the holidays, it's this time of year that people really need others to step up, because depression and anxiety run wicked rampant during this time of year. In fact, suicides increase by nearly 30% during the holidays. So, if you know somebody who's going through this right now, please reach out and help them. No matter how silly you may think it may be, you could save someone's life today by doing this for them. Number 9, anxiety is only what you make it. You can see where this is a common misconception and a myth, because anxiety isn't what you make it. Anxiety is something that can take place after a traumatic incident, or it can just be something you've had all your life. Like, for example, I've actually had anxiety my whole life. Whether it comes to public situations, or even a more recent fear, which I'm going to admit this, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. But it can be from a really traumatic event as well. Or it can be actually caused by post-traumatic stress. So, for people who may not understand this, anxiety is not only what you make it. Anxiety is a monster. It's a monster, like, if you're playing D&D and you're going up against a dragon and you roll a 2, you're pretty much screwed right there. That's what the battle is like, is you're battling your own inner demons, and you're trying to overcome that anxiety, but it's not as easy as it sounds. So if you see somebody who's struggling with anxiety, please think about how their life is. Not just about how you're feeling, but think about that person. Alright, now this one is going to get a lot of hate. Number 8 is depression is a figment of the person's own creation. Now, depression is something that can't always be seen by others, because a lot of people have actually mastered hiding the fact that they're depressed. People who always act so bubbly and happy. For example, Robin Williams. None of us knew of his severe depression until it's thrust upon them and they realize just how bad it is. Like in Robin Williams' case, his was actually enough to lead to suicide because people didn't take him seriously. So people can be really good at hiding it. Depression is not just a figment of somebody's creation. It's an actual mental disorder where you can be happy your whole life. You can have the perfect life, and you can still be depressed. You can have all these friends and still be depressed. It's something that you have no control over. So please, if you're out there and you see other people like this, do not make them feel small, because they're struggling with their inner demons and they're trying to fight them. Number 7, having anxiety isn't that big of a deal because it's not that common. Now, on this part, I can really say that anxiety is not something that is not small. Anxiety ranges in 1 or 2 or 3 in 5 people have, or 2 or 3 in 10 people have anxiety, and like 5 in 7 people have experienced depression. So, essentially, when you're saying that anxiety isn't common and that it's not really that big of a deal, anxiety isn't just having a fear of something. Anxiety is literally freezing up and not knowing exactly what's going to happen. Like, here's the example of anxiety that I suffer from. If I see like a big metal door opening and I don't see who's behind it, I internally freak out because I have no idea what's coming. I'm terrified and my chest starts tightening. I can't stop it from happening. Now, all of this stems from something that happened to me in high school, but I'll save that for another video. But anxiety is a really big deal. It's a big key player in most teenage suicides, along with depression. These things, coupled with bullying, definitely cause a large number of suicides and just trauma in general. So, with that I've said, moving on to number 6, the disorder will resolve on its own. Now, this is stood for both depression and anxiety. The thing is that if you ignore something long enough, it's gonna eat you alive. It's like the Cerebus, or no, wait, Cerebus is a dog. It's like the serpent that eats its own tail. It'll just be this one vicious circle where you'll get better for a while, and then it'll come back and it will bite you in the ass. These disorders will not solve themselves on their own. No matter what people believe, these disorders will not resolve on their own. They're something that requires some constant attention, because if you ignore them for too long, they're going to get really bad, and you're not going to be able to figure out how to control them. Some people say go talk to a medical professional, seek counseling, or if you're like me, surround yourselves with your friends and family. And remember, because I actually can't take medication, remembering who you are is the number one thing you need. You need your friends, you need your family, don't forget that. But most of the time, these disorders do not resolve on their own. In rare cases, they can, but most of the time, they can't. So that is a very, very large myth. You can will depression away, is number 5. And this one makes me laugh, because you cannot will depression away no matter how hard you try. I've been suffering with depression since I was in 6th grade. I've tried to will it away numerous times because I wanted to join the military. But guess what? Didn't happen. Instead, I turned to less traditional ways of dealing with it, and ended up doing something that I kind of regret. Well, actually, I regret it every day. But I look at those scars and I remember what I went through. And I remember just who I was. But with depression, you can't just will it away. You need to go get help. Depression is something that comes back and it strips you of your motivation and it makes you feel completely awful about who you are. Believe me, I know the feeling. 4, both are always brought on by trauma. Now that is the biggest crock of horse shit I've ever heard. Now, I was actually scrolling through Google when I found these, and I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Now, depression and anxiety are not both always caused by trauma. They can be caused by anything can cause depression and anxiety. Nobody knows what exactly causes it because everyone's brain is different. So if you think that it's, traumatic experience is always what causes it, then I'm sorry, you're wrong. Because these are not things that are normal. They're something that completely just rips your life to shreds. It's something that I really I feel strongly about. Number 3 is it's all in your head. Now, no pun intended here, but for the most part, depression and anxiety has to do with the brain, but it's not all in your head. It's not something that's just you. It's not anything that can be definitively defined. It's something that's almost constantly at you. It's always making you feel like crap about yourself somehow. These things are really serious, and if you're ever told that it's just in your head and you're having like suicidal thoughts, please don't hesitate to inbox me anything. If you're seriously thinking about harming yourself, there are numerous people who you can reach out to help you. None of these things are in your head. Please, please, please don't let other people get to you. Number 2, antidepressants are all you need to make you feel better. That is the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard. Because not only are antidepressants mood altering, but they can seriously mess with your head. Antidepressants may work for some, but antidepressants are not all you need. You need support. You need family, you need friends, you need mutual understanding. I don't know how I can emphasize that enough. A lot of the things you need to make you feel better are things that most people wouldn't think of. So, in all honesty, it's one of those things where you really do need understanding. But antidepressants can make you into a total zombie. Trust me, I was on them. Really bad experience. I was a zombie. I had no control over my emotions whatsoever. I was tired all the time. I didn't want to do anything. And then came the nasty little side effect that is written on every single pill bottle. If these things start causing you to have really bad thoughts about contemplating hurting yourself, contact your doctor immediately. Which I actually did, and the next day I went in and they still wouldn't pull me off the medication, so I went off it on my own. Let's put it this way, I'm allergic to most medications. So it was like, yep, I'm screwed. I'm gonna have to deal with this on my own. But one thing I found is that if you surround yourself with friends that actually care about you, you'll definitely do a little bit better. I'm not saying it's gonna cure you, because it doesn't cure you, trust me. But it's something that helps. And music helps too. Music helps. And number 1, and I can't stress this enough, people with anxiety should always avoid their fears. Now, speaking from experience, anxiety isn't something that can be avoided. You can't avoid everything. Like, if you have anxiety about driving, you're not gonna escape it. You gotta drive to get everywhere. It's one of those big things where it's like, if you don't introduce yourself to it, and you're still gonna have that anxiety no matter how you do things. But it's gonna be easier in the long run if you actually expose yourself to it a little bit. I mean, it's one of those things where you've just gotta, it's a question of perspective and point of view. It's one of those things where you've just gotta be like, hey, I feel this way about it, but it's one of those things. You can't avoid it. It's not healthy. It's one of those things where you're like, hey, I don't like roller coasters. So you're not going to put yourself on one. If you're afraid of roller coasters, don't put yourself on one. But if it's something normal like driving to work or like elevators, I for one am terrified of elevators. Like literally, I have a good reason though. my great-grandmother's brothers died in it. One of her brothers died in an elevator accident. So, yeah, every time those metal doors close, it's like, shh, it's like, am I going to my death? But in all honesty, with anxiety, it's just nothing is easy about it at all. And that's the thing with it, is that people always assume that it's easy to deal with these things, when it's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do. But, in all honesty, this video is mainly to emphasize on the fact that there's a lot of misconceptions out there about depression and anxiety, and these are only 10 of them. There's misconceptions, there's myths. I suggest if you don't know a lot about this subject, please look them up, because there's a lot of people out there struggling with this. Sorry for the long-winded video, but where it's the holidays, I really wanted to make sure that you guys are out there supporting each other and making sure that everyone is okay. If you know somebody who suffers from any of these horrible disorders, please hug them, bring them close, and let them know that you care. Even if you don't fully understand it, just remember that eventually we all have that moment in our lives when we don't know what to do. If you ever need help or anything, please don't hesitate to ask. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, share, and comment on the video. And if you... please... Alex! Oh! Sorry about the yelling, if you heard that, because my fiance won't shut up. Oy, oy, oy. Every time I'm doing a serious video, he starts laughing his ass off in the living room. The wonderful bloopers that I can't cut out because I'm filming this on a tablet. Yay me! Apologies. But if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to get in contact with me through email, my email's in the description below. If you haven't checked out Davey Scotsman, please check out his channel. The link is gonna be at the end of the video and on the screen. Anyways, that was one long ass video, and I am so sorry it was that long. Anyways, have a good night, guys. Peace out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.